Hey there, it's Anonymous Tea, where we spill the tea anonymously. Hello, 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 everyone. Hello, YouTubers. Hope you guys are all having an amazing day today, sending good vibes, sending positivity, sending blessings, and good energy to each and every single one of you. Thank you so much for tuning in. So today we're talking Carlos King. Anything I say is alleged and in my very, very personal opinion. This is for entertainment purposes only. None of this is personal. The Copyright Act of 1976 is in the description box. Some meat and potatoes, some housekeeping items. It is free to follow me. Free to follow me on this channel, Anonymous Tea. Free to follow me on my other channel, Anonymous Tea Podcast. Free to follow me on the Tickety Talk at Anonymous Tea Podcast. Free to follow me on the Instagram. On the Instagram, he's at Anonymous Reality Tea. Free to share everywhere. Free to like the videos that it gets out into the algorithm, y'all. Also free, you guys, to share with your family, share with your friends, share with your foes, and do not forget whether you're coming or going to like the video. So in this video, we're talking Carlos King. He's now doing this reality TV recap show now with Dustin and Claudia Jordan on Monday nights, and there's mixed reviews because there's still people who are not fans of Claudia Jordan because of, you know, previous comments that Claudia Jordan had made regarding black women, right? And so nonetheless, Carlos King is really trying to sell this. Now there was a lot of fluff at the beginning and everything else that I fast forwarded through, but there's a couple of nuggets that is happening. I got this vibe, you know, previously that they're trying to recreate TGIF. I don't know if y'all peeped it, but it's giving similar, you know, types of formula that is being utilized. You know, the same idea for a show that Nene Leakes had. I don't know, it's giving that vibe, because as much as Funky Dineva cannot stand Claudia Jordan, you would think, you know, his good friend Carlos King, you know, what you know, but nonetheless, Carlos King only cares about himself, only cares about advancing himself forward, and nonetheless, he wanted to preface before saying anything about Kenya Moore and Real Housewives of Atlanta that this is a personal friend of his and that he would tell her in private if he was going to call her out publicly, except for he did not call her out publicly. And then I thought it was interesting because they decided to lead off with a story about the Stephen A. Smith and LeBron James drama, except for Dustin seemed to be the only person that actually did the research on what happened. And, you know, Carlos King was low-key trying to defend Stephen A. Smith and was not aware of some of the personal comments that Stephen A. Smith made about LeBron James' son. He thought it was just about the stats. See, this is the thing, y'all. When y'all want to venture out into things, can y'all have the facts? Dustin was the only one that had the facts on the situation. Like, and this is my thing. This is what Mel talked about. This is what Marquez talked about doing your research and fact checking. Have all the receipts of all the things that Stephen A. Smith said about LeBron before just going on the bandwagon. Like, make it make sense. So nonetheless, a couple of times, y'all, in this review, Dustin threw shade. I don't know if Carlos King caught it or if he peeped it, but he mentioned RHOA Season 9 once again. And the conversation was about, you know, whether production is trying to set things up to have a Portia versus Shamia, right? And trying to implode their friendship, right? And so nonetheless, you know, Dustin made the comment a couple of times that we need to keep it all the way a buck about what is going on. You know, how come Portia, who's supposed to be Shamia's good friend for 16 years, said and did nothing when Phaedra RHOA Season 9 was doing the emoji, the finger in the hole emoji, trying to allude to Shamia, implying that Shamia, Candy, and Todd were having, you know, the threesomes together. We're having intimate contact together. Portia didn't deny it. Portia didn't debunk it. For all intents and purposes, you know, Portia, you know, what was low-key agreeing with Phaedra. Because it was a hot mic moment when Phaedra was sitting there with Sheree Whitfield. So nonetheless, Dustin was basically saying on Shamia's behalf, like, her and Portia really need to have an all-out conversation because, once again, in RHOA Season 9, there were things Phaedra was implying about Shamia, Candy, and Todd, and Portia said nothing. And Portia herself went to lie on Candy and Todd, and you could just see Carlos King's face, y'all. Carlos King's face did not want to say anything about this conversation, and per usual wants to change the subject. Now, my question is this, y'all. If you had nothing to do with RHOA Season 9 ending the way that it did, and you were not let go from Bravo, from NBC Universal at the time, why do you go on the mute challenge? Why don't you say anything every time Dustin brings up RHOA Season 9? Make it make sense, y'all. It's becoming more and more apparent and more obvious about what this is. And then, Carlos King tried to convince the people that he watches the show as a fan and not as a producer. And they were going back and forth as far as why the reason was Portia was late to Shamia's party and if it was on purpose. And so Carlos initially tried to defend Portia about the traffic and everything else. Then Claudia Jordan came in and was like, well, from a producer standpoint and from being on the show, sometimes they make you wait on purpose. Sometimes they give you different call times. Sometimes they will have you there and wait to get you mic'd up and then tell you when to go into the scene. And then here come Carlos King talking about, well, I never even thought about it like that as a producer. Come on, Carlos King. Come on now. Like, let's keep it a buck. Come on now. You were on this show for how many seasons? You did all this producing and worked with some of these housewives, and you're really trying to pull this right now? And then the nail in the coffin, y'all. Why did Dustin call it, quote-unquote, lazy producing? Shout out to Marceau. If they felt that there was any type of manipulation on production's part to try to basically have Portia show up late on purpose. Right when Shamia was receiving her brand new Rolls Royce, right? And all of the things. And so it's just, I think Carlos King thinks this is a good idea, but he keeps getting gagged on his own show, on his own platform, on his own attempts to try to, quote unquote, let's have a real conversation. And it ends up, coming right back around to him. No. I wonder how many more times before Carlos King tells Dustin privately to stop mentioning Real Housewives of Atlanta Season 9. How long is that going to happen for? But nonetheless, you have to be a historian of the show. You have to talk about everything, especially if you're bringing not only just Portia back, but now Phaedra. And a lot of the stuff with Portia and Shamia goes back to when Carlos King was producing the show. So I'm wondering how much longer this nonsense and this foolishness is going to last, because I don't see this ending well, you guys. I do not see this ending well. Either we're going to put a stop to talking about all things Real Housewives of Atlanta Season 9, or because Carlos King has to get the constipated look off of his face every time Season 9 is brought up. Because that effectively ended his tenure with the Bravo people, you guys. But nonetheless, this is getting messier and messier, and we got to talk about it. We got to talk about at what point is Carlos King going to tell the truth about what really happened with him in Bravo, and how he's going to try to pretend 1 minute that he's clueless as a producer on how people get different call times and how different scenes are set up and what time people show up on girls' trips and everything else, as if you just didn't pull the same shenanigans at Love and Marriage Huntsville. And how people lie and everything else, and how people are trying to have a moment, and how people come in hot. And I was like, wow, like are we just not going to look in the mirror at all? We're just not going to look in the mirror at all. and see the failed attempts that you tried to recreate certain things on Live in Marriage Huntsville that you did at Real Housewives of Atlanta, and it did not sit well with the audience, you boys. So there's that. That is all I got. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Please do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you're notified the moment I post new content on my channel. And with that being said, I'll talk to you guys again very soon.